Germany leads the world in wind energy. Stick around and we'll talk about it. You and I have an insatiable appetite for electricity. Come with me and we'll look at the issues relative to wind farms and the communities that they serve. This is the Windfarm Guy. Hi, this is Dennis Stout and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Windfarm Guy. Europe, and especially Germany, is way ahead of the US when it comes to wind energy. We have much to learn from them. Today is a special edition of the Windfarm Guy. I recently went to Berlin, Germany to attend a wind and solar forum for UKA. While there, I had the opportunity to interview Wolfram Axthelm, who is the managing director of the German Wind Association, BWE. They're kind of the German version of the American Clean Power Association. I took pictures and video of wind farms as I flew into Frankfurt and rode the train to Berlin. You'll see some of those during this interview. So let's get right to that interview. Today I am in Berlin, Germany, and I have with me the managing director of the German Wind Association to tell us a little bit about what's going on in Germany relative to the wind industry. Thank you for joining me today, and if you wouldn't mind, so I don't destroy your name, would y'all introduce yourselves and say your name, please?
Wolfram Axthelm, the managing director from the Wind Energy Association in Germany and from the Renewable Energy Association also. And I'm a little bit sorry for my English, but I live in my children's time in the east part of Germany and I have only Russian in school. And so my English is from the travel around the world. I was many times in the United States, a very nice country, but my English is not so good for the complex of energy and for wind energy and for the complex political situation in Germany. And so we talk I answer in German and my colleague translates this, and then yes. I hope you understand me.
Yes. And your name?
Great. I'm Adrian Röhrig. I'm the press officer of the German Renewable Association. And like already been said, I will translate.
All right, thank you. Thank you both. If you don't mind telling me, how did the wind industry here in Germany begin? Tell me about the early days of the wind industry here.
Ende der 80er Jahre.
In the 80s, in East and West Germany, we saw the beginning of the German wind industry, of the German production of windmills. And in the West, it was because people said, we want to produce our own energy. We don't want to leave energy production to big companies, to corporate. We want to produce our own energy locally. While in East Germany, we saw that there was a scarcity of energy. So they were looking to find ways to produce energy cheap and endlessly. And that's why they started producing wind energy in East Germany.
Und dann kam die deutsche Vereinigung, beide Staaten kamen zusammen und es gab.
And we've seen in the 90s, after the reunification of Germany, we've seen both interests coming together, and we've seen a push in production. And especially the northern countries of Germany saw that there's also an industrial political point behind it in securing this industry and producing windmills. And we've seen in the northern part of Germany at the coast, we had in 39, 49, we've seen that there's a crisis in the harbors. A lot of people lost their jobs. And at the same time, there were people basically in their garages starting to invent those windmill firms. And the people who had just recently lost their jobs could find new jobs in this new upcoming industry. And that's when also the politicians and politics in the northern states realized, wait, this is a good opportunity to form a new core industry in our countries.
And the northern part of the country is where your greatest wind resources are, is that correct? Plus you have the offshore, which is along off the coast.
Aber der Start war mit Wind an Land.
Well, yes, there are the offshore platforms, but they came later. In the first time, the northern producers of windmills, they were producing windmills on land, and then were quickly able, also in the end of the 90s, to cover more ground, also in the southern parts of Germany, in which the countries also were saying, wait, we want to have a piece of the cake, we also want to build windmills.
So what is the condition, the status of the wind industry here today?
Wir müssen da immer sehen,
To answer that, we've got to go back 4 years, and the former German government saw that the wind industry production was too fast for them. In good years, we were producing 4,500 megawatts per year, and they wanted to cut that to 2,800. So the industry took a heavy hit. We had 40,000 people losing their jobs, and already back then we knew those are actually people we do need. And we do need them today. While the industry was spiraling down, we had a new election in Germany and a new government of 3 parties forming, a new government who saw the potential of wind industry and who was catching the falling industry, and is now on its way to further push the windmills and the wind farms, the building of them in Germany.
I visit with landowners regularly, and as something that I hear from time to time when someone says, not everyone is a fan of wind, and from time to time I hear someone say something that, yeah, Germany is ahead of the US, but the German economy is in shambles and it's because of renewable energies. What do you have to say about that? How would you address that to a landowner?
Windenergieanlagen bedeuten eine Veränderung in der Landschaft.
If you change something in the countryside, people will have a hard time dealing with that because there's just a new windmill there. But I recommend maybe going to a museum and taking a look at Dutch painters from the 1840s. And if you look at their pictures, you can see windmills everywhere. But then industrialization came, and we had coal, we had massive fabrics, we had dark clouds in the sky. So that's what people got used to. So now this is a normal process, and we start building new windmills that are changing the countryside once more, that people are going to have a hard time in the beginning.
Und den Menschen muss man sagen, vor Ort einfach, man muss sie sehr früh einbeziehen.
And that is exactly why it's important to get in contact, get in touch with the people locally, and talk to them, not just after the thing is done, but before you plan it, and maybe figuring out where to put the windmill exactly. And that is one side, and on the other side you should also make sure that the money and the wealth that is produced via windmills doesn't leave the local community but also stays there, because the people are the ones who are living in this area. And this is the secret why also very dense regions in Germany, like the Münsterland, have a lot of windmills, because communities there came together, they had an interest of building those, and we've had local banks realizing, wait, this is something we can make money with. And we've also had local communities realizing, oh, a wind farm does bring us money, income to maybe build local playgrounds and to restore buildings and roads.
What do you see on the horizon? What's the future look like for wind farms, wind industry?
Wir stehen vor einer sehr, sehr guten Zukunft.
We are looking very enthusiastically into the future. We've got a goal of our government of 70 gigawatt installed power in Germany. For the wind industry on land, we've got a in-between goal of 140 megawatt. That would be 4 times as much as we have now in a building. And so we are looking positively into the future.
If you like what we've discussed today, be sure and click like and subscribe below. If you have questions or comments, be sure and leave me a comment below as well. Want to ask you if there was something that you could tell the general public, if there was something that you wish that they knew, what would that be?
Jetzt musst du die Frage noch mal ganz kurz sagen.
Das war wieder die Frage nach dem, was würdest du den Menschen erzählen, was wir wissen sollen?
Wir haben in Deutschland eine positive Erfahrung damit gemacht, dass man
In Germany, we have seen very positive outcomes of local engagement, communities and people locally engaging in building wind farms and building windmills. And when I look at the States, I see very big wind farms that we see, for example, in Texas, but also it is important to not forget the local communities who sometimes maybe feel a little bit forgotten from politics. So if those would also start engaging in building windmills and engaging at their homes, this can have very positive effects economically in growth. And
thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis.
Appreciate it.
thank you.
There are a lot of great things happening in the wind industry today, worldwide. A friend of mine is even developing wind farms in Africa, and Europe is where it all began. I had a great experience in Berlin, and I plan to go back. You should visit there as well. A special thank you to Wolfram Axthelm, Adrian Röhrig, Tim Hellstern, and UKA. This couldn't have happened without you. This is Dennis Stout, and I'm the Windfarm Guy. Thank you for watching. Working together, we can make good energy decisions and save our planet. I am the Windfarm Guy.